Hey, what's up, Agents for Life? Welcome to podcast 352. Glad you're here. We're going to jump right in with some great little nuggets, hopefully, of wisdom for you to apply and become better business owners. Okay, better business owners. And the quote or the mic drop thought that I wanted to lead with is this by David Allen. He said, "The mind is for having ideas, not for holding them." Okay, your mind is a factory, not a warehouse or a storehouse, right? So a lot of times we'll get thoughts, ideas, and we'll think, I'll just remember, and we keep it in our brain. And what that does is bog us down. And do you remember later? Have you had a great idea that you forgot later? I have. Even something little like a follow up, something I was going to do this, and I knew at the time I thought it that I was going to, I'm like, there's no way I can forget. It's that important. Of course I'm going to remember. And then later I'm like, I even remember how important it was, and I still can't remember what it was. And it's crazy. And I don't think it's just our minds being forgetful. I just think we only have a limited capacity for things. Unless your mind is like, and there are people out there. I have a son that's like this, but very, very almost like photographic memory. Okay. But most of us, our minds slowly deplete, especially throughout the day. And if you're storing ideas and things in your mind, you're doing yourself a disservice. So what we want to talk about today is well, there's three things that I wanted to go over on it. And this is if you're trying to act like your brain is a CRM, I got news for you. It ain't. Okay. It's not a great CRM. In fact, your brain is a terrible CRM. So, what's a CRM? That is like the the center for all things logistics, following up, all the details, everything, right? And that's why we have such tools as a CRM is because we're outsourcing our brains and we're taking the stuff, the clutter that's in our minds, in our brains, and we're putting it into a place where we don't now have to remember. We're letting ourselves off the hook from having to remember because my environment, and it's not just your CRM, your follow-ups and your emails, your calendar. There's a lot of places where you can put things into your system where it's now out of your mind and it's off your plate. So it frees up your mind to do what? What does your mind do best? Solve problems, create new ideas, right? That's what our brains, if we can keep the clutter out, our brains are wired to do that. They're also wired to stop us and keep us from doing scary things. But we're not going to talk about that. That's a different topic for another day. So, our brains are wired to create ideas and solve problems. And if we keep them clear, they will do that for us. And you can apply those in business, in home, family, church, all that stuff. So, first thought or first point to make is that your brain is a terrible CRM. So please don't treat it like that. So here's a few things to note as you're considering your process and system around you. There's a lot of tools you can latch onto, putting things like new leads coming in, follow-up requests, folders and things of things that you have to do, right? Things to do, calendaring items. You can color code things, you can use icons, but you can get really organized if you put a system in place to keep your mind clutter free. We don't want to be hoarders, mental hoarders, right? That's what we're being if we're trying to save all of our own ideas in our brain. Okay, so let's try an experiment. If over the next 10 minutes while I'm talking, I give you a list of five things to remember. Call your mom. You have a 3:15 appointment, pay the electric bill, pick up your dry cleaning, and maybe fix or call your daughter and ask her about the flat tire she got yesterday. I mean, like random things, right? Now, if I challenge you to remember those while listening to the rest of this podcast, what happens? Exactly, right? You're not going to get much out of the podcast. Why? Because you're forcing yourself, like, okay, right, okay, can't forget that, can't forget, right? So you can't focus on two things at the same time. You're either going to be one or the other. So if you're remembering things while you're listening to this podcast, you're not going to get much out of it. So number one, for your own good, don't do that because hopefully you get good things out of this podcast. But number two, what's that same principle is happening to you in real life. You're trying to remember things and run an appointment or make a dial or talk to your spouse, right? The more we can get out of our head onto paper, onto calendar, onto AI now, onto spreadsheets, onto even just papers at your desk, folders, okay? And you get it out of here and into your systems, it frees you up to do what you need to do. So, with that, there's three things that I wanted to go over. Every opportunity, every new thing, new item, new to-do list item, new appointment, any event, let's call them, that comes in needs three things. Number one, it needs a place. Okay. You ever had, the garage, I think, is the place where things go that don't have a place, or piles. You got a pile on your desk? It's because you didn't know where to put it. You got a pile in your bedroom or down the hall, you didn't know where to put it, or maybe you're too lazy to put it away and you just threw it on the floor. But that's worse. But a lot of times piles accumulate because we don't know what to do with them. We all have a junk drawer in the kitchen, right? That's that. I'm not sure where else this goes, therefore I'm gonna put it in the junk drawer, and it just collects like whatever. Random. That's actually kind of fun going through people's junk drawers. You can learn a lot about somebody. But if everything has a place in your world, you don't collect piles and you keep flowing. So a new lead should have a place, should have a folder, a slot, something. Spreadsheet if you're digital, paper if you're not. Either way, a follow-up item, pending business, your clients, they all need a place to reside. Okay. Nobody's homeless in your office. No events, no items, nobody's homeless. They all have lodging somewhere. And if there's not a place, you either need to find the next closest place or create a place. So this is where you stop and take a look at your system and say, I keep having piles of XYZ. If there's a lot of them, let's solve that by creating a place. And then when there's a thing that pops up, we know where to put it, right? So you can take a moment and solve that. Your system's more efficient, you're wasting less time, you're spending more time on things that matter. So that's number one. Number two, each thing needs a status. Okay, how important is it? Um, what's not just somewhere, I'll get back to you, something, some way, but is it pending? Is it follow up? Is it I'll get with you next week? Is it on hold for a while? Or is it urgent, right? A status. So it needs a place, and then it also needs a status. And then the third thing is it needs a next action. Like, what are we doing next? Are we following up? And this is something that's super important on your appointments. I still sometimes fall in the trap of, yeah, okay, well, one of us will get back in touch with the other, and it kind of falls in the middle, right? I've gotten better, but I still let some slip through the cracks. But now more, I'm pressing myself to say, okay, and they'll say, I'll call you back, right? You get that from a lot of people. I will call you back. Okay, I don't accept that because they won't, right? But the thing is, I may not be available to answer when they call back. So that's my response when they say, I'll call you back. Great, let me get you on my calendar so I can be available when you call. When do you plan on calling me? Boom, right? Did you write that down? So I want to call you back. Great. Let me make sure I'll be available and I'll put your name on my calendar so that I can pick up when you call. What time are you calling? Put it on the calendar. Guess what happens when or if they don't call? I'm calling them. Hey, I'm sorry, I probably missed your call, right? Voicemail. So that's that's clarity on next steps. Okay, never leave a conversation or an opportunity without knowing for sure what the next steps are. So, a next action item. So, everything has to have a place, a status, and then what are you doing next to it? And once you get that going, your stuff starts flowing around your office environment a little bit. You've got some, I'm pointing on this side because I got all my folders over here, and they're color coded. My appointment folder is blue. My leads folder is orange. I've got files here at the bottom of the shelf to that are closed business that need to be filed in my filing cabinet. I've got a file up here that are to shred. Okay. And then up on top, I've got pending business. And then I've got a series of months that are rotating. And I've got 12 folders, and each one has a month written on it. And when someone says, call me back in October, I just drop their form in the month of October. And when it's the beginning of the month, I pull it out. Right. So that's just something that I created, but come up with your own as you go. You'll learn, as the flow is, what the rhythm is of your environment, your office. But just operate on those three principles. Everything has to have a home. Nothing's homeless in my office. Everything has to have a home. Everything has to have a status and the next action item. And if you can get good at labeling everything with those things and minimizing your piles, decluttering all the things you have to remember, then it frees your brain up to do what it's born to do. And you get to be more creative in what you do and how you show up. So thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you next week.